Surveillance video.
June 21st, 2024. It was a Friday afternoon in Deer Park, a quiet suburb on Long Island. The sun was beginning its slow descent, casting a warm, golden glow over the familiar landscape of strip malls and bustling local businesses. At the Hawaii Nail and Spa, nestled in a busy shopping center, the air was filled with the typical sounds of a pre-weekend rush, the low hum of dryers, the light chatter of customers, the clinking of tools. It was a scene of mundane, everyday life, a place where people came to unwind and treat themselves. But in a matter of seconds, that peace would be irrevocably shattered, and Deer Park would become the epicenter of a tragedy that would send shockwaves across New York. Without warning, a grey SUV traveling at an estimated 50 miles per hour through the 15-mile-per-hour parking lot mounted the curb and became a projectile. It smashed through the salon's glass facade, not just crashing, but plowing through the entire length of the business. The sound was described by witnesses as an explosion. Inside, a scene of pampering and relaxation turned into a war zone of twisted metal, shattered glass, and unimaginable horror. When the chaos subsided, 4 lives were extinguished, and 9 other people were left with devastating, life-altering injuries. It would go down as one of the deadliest vehicle crashes in the history of Suffolk County. The community soon learned the names of those who were stolen from them. 30-year-old Emilia Renack, an off-duty NYPD officer from Ronkonkoma, was a devoted mother to 2 young children. She was at the salon for a pedicure with her own mother, a moment of family time that turned into a final tragic memory. Her mother would survive, but was critically injured. Jian Kai Chen, known to everyone as Ken, was the 48-year-old owner of the salon, an immigrant who had worked tirelessly to build his business. He was the embodiment of the American dream, a beloved figure in the community known for his kindness and generosity. Also lost were 2 of his dedicated employees, 45-year-old Yan Jenny Shu and 50-year-old Metzi Zhang. Both were mothers, working hard to provide for their families. 4 people from different walks of life, their futures erased in an instant. Families were shattered. A community was left scarred and searching for answers. The 9 survivors faced a grueling road to recovery, among them a 12-year-old girl who was at the salon for a birthday celebration. She was left fighting for her life with critical injuries. The stories of survival were harrowing, each a testament to the sheer violence of the impact. The man behind the wheel was identified as 64-year-old Stephen Schwally of Dix Hills. As first responders worked to save lives amidst the wreckage, Schwally was found at the scene, reportedly showing clear signs of intoxication. The story that emerged was chilling. Prosecutors alleged that Schwally admitted to drinking 18 beers the night before the crash. Hours after the incident, his blood alcohol content was still reportedly more than twice the legal limit. This wasn't his first encounter with the law regarding drunk driving. Court records revealed a prior DWI conviction from 2013. In that incident, Schwally had also crashed his vehicle. He completed a court-mandated drinking and driving program, but a decade later, he was once again behind the wheel, allegedly far more intoxicated, with far more catastrophic results. The destruction inside the salon was total. Surveillance footage captured the event in horrifying detail. It showed Schwally's SUV not slowing or swerving, but accelerating through the parking lot, cutting through the salon like a missile. The sheer force of the impact sent bodies and furniture flying, leaving a path of devastation from one end of the store to the other. In the immediate aftermath, the community was stunned when Schwally was initially charged only with a single count of driving while intoxicated. The charge, a misdemeanor, sparked immediate public outrage. With 4 people dead and 9 others grievously injured, many felt the initial charge was a profound injustice. That outrage was heard. Weeks later, the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office secured a sweeping 40-count indictment from a grand jury. The charges were severe: 4 counts of second-degree murder under the theory of depraved indifference, 4 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, multiple counts of manslaughter, assault, and reckless driving. If convicted on the top charge of murder, Stephen Schwally faces a sentence of 25 years to life in prison. In June of 2025, Schwally appeared in court and pleaded not guilty to all charges, setting the stage for a complex and high-stakes legal battle. His defense team's argument centers on the most serious charge, depraved indifference murder. They argue that while their client's actions were reckless, they do not meet the incredibly high legal standard for murder in New York State. To prove depraved indifference, prosecutors must show more than just recklessness. They must prove the defendant had a wicked, evil, or inhuman state of mind, a conscious disregard for the value of human life. The defense will likely argue that Schwally's extreme intoxication prevented him from forming that specific mental state. But prosecutors are firing back with a powerful narrative. They contend that Schwally's actions, taken as a whole, paint a clear picture of depraved indifference. They point to the sheer quantity of alcohol consumed, his prior DWI conviction, the extreme speed in a crowded parking lot, and the decision to get behind the wheel in the first place. They argue that this pattern of behavior demonstrates a complete and utter disregard for the lives of anyone who might be in his path. While the criminal case moves forward, the fight for justice is also being waged on a civil front. The families of the deceased and the survivors of the crash have filed multiple lawsuits, not only against Schwally himself, but also against the liquor store that allegedly sold him alcohol that day. These civil suits invoke New York's Dram Shop Act, a law that allows victims of drunk driving accidents to hold bars, restaurants, and liquor stores liable if they served or sold alcohol to a visibly intoxicated person. The lawsuit alleges the store's employees continued to sell alcohol to Schwally despite clear signs he was already drunk, making them partially responsible for the carnage that followed. This legal front seeks not only financial compensation for the immense suffering caused, but also accountability from every party that may have contributed to the tragedy. The fight for justice is playing out on every front, inside and outside the courtroom. This isn't just a case about legal statutes and courtroom arguments. It's a story of profound grief, of a community that has rallied together in the face of unimaginable loss. Vigils have drawn hundreds of mourners. GoFundMe campaigns have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to support the victims' families with funeral costs and medical bills. It is a story of accountability and a community demanding that a tragedy like this never happens again. The Deer Park nail salon tragedy will go down as one of the most shocking and heartbreaking crashes in New York history. The upcoming trial of Stephen Schwally is more than just a verdict for one man. It could set a powerful precedent for how the justice system confronts the deadliest cases of drunk driving, and how far prosecutors can go to secure a murder conviction for those who turn their vehicle into a weapon. The eyes of Long Island, and indeed the entire state, will be on the Suffolk County Courthouse. The trial is just beginning.